Welcome into Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Together, we can tackle kids' cancer. Coming to you live from the top of Section 144 at MetLife Stadium. My name is Madelyn Burke, alongside the Super Bowl champion Shaun O'Hara. Shaun, Sunday Night Football, the home opener for these New York Football Giants, but unfortunately, it was a loss. 22-9 is the final score in favor of the Kansas City Chiefs. Shaun, what is your immediate takeaway from this one?
So disappointing. It's frustrating. It's all these different ambrosia of emotions right now as Giants fans pour out of here and do that same drive home that they have gotten too used to over the last couple of years. And there was so much leading up to this game. The Giants home opener, the fireworks, the pregame was electric. Brandon Jacobs down there getting this crowd fired up. And, I mean, this place, you could feel the energy. You could feel it. And everybody was expecting the Giants offense to just pick up right where they left off last week against the Dallas Cowboys. They scored 37 points. All right, they're going to attack this Kansas City Chiefs defense. And it felt like tonight the definition was missed opportunities. And offensively, the first drive, they ran the ball 7 times in that first drive. You could tell they wanted to get the run game going. They wanted to be physical. And it looked like a great start. And then they get down to 4th down, and they go for it. Now, a lot of people in the stands here didn't know, why are they going for it on 4th and 3? Why aren't they kicking the field goal?
Right.
Well, 5 minutes before the game starts, Graham Gano tweaks his groin and now can't kick. So now all of a sudden, Daboll hears, look, you don't have your kicker. Totally changes everything from the get-go. And in a game where points were going to be a struggle, those field goals early on could have really helped out. So what a tough night offensively. You know, I think we all expected a lot more. We expected more production. We expected more points. And I thought the offense, you know, they came up short. There was a lot. It felt like they were pressing. I felt like Russell Wilson made some throws that they were borderline double coverage. And it was like, hey, I'm going to try to make something happen. I'm going to put the ball possibly in harm's way, and hopefully somebody makes a big play.
And it ended up in a couple interceptions for him. Yeah.
Defensively, look, I thought they did a great job. I mean, you holding Mahomes in check. Like, they did not get gashed. They didn't give up the big play. They were getting after Mahomes. They were getting pressure. I thought defensively, though, the ball literally slipped through their hands. Tyler Nubin had a chance to intercept the ball in the end zone. Bobby Okereke had a chance to scoop up that backward lateral, and who knows, maybe he scores, or maybe if he falls on it, the ball is now on the 5-yard line. So defensively, those opportunities for turnovers and takeaways that could have led to points, you've got to capitalize on them. And so this game, I feel like, slipped through the defenses and the offense's fingers, literally.
Right, and you got to start with the beginning, right? That opening drive, it looked like the Giants offense was moving down the field. They established the run early, which was a point of emphasis this week going into this game. You want to get the run game going, but to your point, when you get to 4th and 3 and normally would settle for a field goal, and Gano is not in the game, he did come back in the second half, was able to kick a field goal for the Giants in the second half, but missed the first half. We saw the punter, Jamie Gillen, come in to kick a PAT for the Giants in the first half.
And we saw that same scenario last year, week 2, was Washington. Graham Gano hurts his hamstring on the opening kickoff, and Gillen comes in, tries to kick the extra point, doesn't work. So now you're automatically handcuffed right out of the gate.
Right. Automatically handcuffed right out of the gate. You don't end up with points on that opening drive, and not only is that discouraging on the scoreboard, but also momentum-wise when you get down the field that way and you can't convert it to a score.
Yeah, it makes it tough. And look, like I said, the Giants fans were here. They were ready to rock. They had been properly hydrated in the parking lot leading up to this game. They were here early. They were ready to rock. They were looking for something to celebrate.
Yes.
Yeah, all the libations were in full effect. And you know, you got to give them something. You got to give them something to get happy about and to cheer about and to celebrate. And I thought not getting points right there out of the gate, I think that kind of muffled a lot of that positivity and that enthusiasm. You know, it was a great 1-2 punch. Tyrone Tracy was doing a great job. Cam Scattebo was kind of the hammer. You know, and then, of course, Tyrone Tracy gets hurt as well, and now that kind of changes things too. But, you know, Scattebo, I mean, that guy, look, everybody loves him. He plays physical, downhill. He had some really nice runs, including the touchdown run that he had.
Cam Scattebo proved to be a trusted target for Russell Wilson tonight, not only in the passing game and the running game as well. He led the Giants in rushing and in receiving tonight. 10 attempts for 60 yards rushing and 8 targets, 6 receptions, 61 yards as well in the passing game. So great attribute for this Giants team as well. All right, we've got more show coming up. We're going to continue to break this one down, Giants Postgame Live. But first, want to remind you guys, Giants fans, join us at the Ultimate Women's Tailgate presented by Joe Malone. The ticketed event takes place Sunday, September 28th from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. before the Week 4 home game against the Los Angeles Chargers. Join me and Giants legends and a lot of your favorite female sports fans. Scan the QR code on your screen or visit giants.com/women's tailgate to learn more. Giants Postgame Live brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Together we can tackle kids' cancer. Returns after this. Today's scoring drive of the game is brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Football Giants. Citizens is made for Giants fans, and for every scoring drive this season, Citizens will donate $750 to the Giants Foundation to support their work tackling important community issues, improving overall health, and empowering our youth. For the drive of the game, we take you to the second quarter of this one. Russell Wilson hands it off to Cam Scattebo, gets some yardage there. The Chiefs have back-to-back penalties, roughing the passer and holding. That puts the Giants at the 13, and Scat says, let's just get all the way to the end zone, why don't we? Scores the tud. Jamie Gillen would come on for the PAT, but would miss it.
And wait for it. There it is.
Hit him with a backflip. This one ties the game at 6. Cam Scattebo, his second career touchdown for the rookie running back. 8 plays, 70 yards, 3 minutes and 40 seconds off the clock, capped with a 13-yard rushing touchdown. Is your scoring drive of the game, presented by Citizens. Welcome back to Giants Post Game Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Together we can tackle kids' cancer. Madelyn, Burke, the Super Bowl champion, Shaun O'Hara, the 2-time Super Bowl champion, Carl Banks joining us on the set, coming down from the radio booth. Banks, thanks so much for
Good
stopping
hustle,
by.
Thank you for having me on. This, Shaun was like, here we go again. I'm like, I hope not. It's one of, you look at this statistically, the stat junkies will either weigh one way or the other, but it really came down to who made the plays, right? The Giants defensively improved, but they didn't make the plays, right? Daboll had his hands on 2 interceptions. Bobby Okereke scoops a backwards pass only to have it taken away. Right before the half, and then it gets you nothing. And then Daboll drops an interception, and then they go in and score. But these are the difference in levels of teams. Like Brian Burns had a hell of a game. Like, they did a lot of things, but it doesn't really matter.
And here's the play that you mentioned, Carl. Of course, they get the sack or the pressure on Mahomes. He loses the ball. Okereke almost comes up with it, doesn't.
Madelyn had a chance at it first.
Yeah.
And if either one of those guys just falls on the ball, boom, all of a sudden you're going to score.
Because
that sudden change, you're going to score a touchdown.
A missed opportunity, because on that drive, then they're trying to get pressure on Mahomes. But, of course, elusive as he always is, gets out of it, sends it down the field, and then they end up with a 52-yard defensive pass interference.
Yeah, and, I think someone said that they should have let him catch it and let the clock run out, but that just doesn't happen that way on a broken play. Like, you're not thinking in a broken play, how much time is on the clock? Let me tackle him and run the clock out. You're like, I can't afford to allow a touchdown. So, but it's just, it's Kansas City and it's New York Giants. New York Giants if you had any chance of winning this game, you had to come up with those types of plays. Giants ran the ball well, but it didn't look like they controlled the line of scrimmage, right? They had no answers in the pass game for every coverage that legislated against the deep ball from Spags. They just didn't have a counter for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're seeing these plays right now. I mean, look, the Giants' defensive line came to play. I mean, like you said, Brian Burns was all over the place. Kayvon Thibodeau, I mean, he was wrecking shop. Abdul Carter was kind of inside a little bit more, so you didn't see as much of an impact from him. But
we did see him get a sack, though.
Yeah, this Giants pass rush was the lifeline of this team right now. But even they could only do so much. Like even when they rushed Mahomes, it was keep him in the pocket. They did a good job of that, and then the protection broke down because it's hard. It's hard to cover for 5 or 6 seconds. The Giants right now could very well be 2-1. So this is not a bad team. So for those of you that are walking out of the stadium right now, or you're watching this game at home, like this, and when you start off with saying, here we go again. No, this is a different team. Like this team is better.
And it's hard.
They're just not finding ways to win.
Right.
They're finding ways to give the game to the other team.
It's, again, we talk about levels of competition, right? They're not there yet. And as you say, they're not a bad team. They're a better team, but you can't convince anybody of that because they see the score.
Yeah.
And then the level of competition that they're playing right now is preventing anyone from seeing it unless you're looking through the eyes of someone who's been on the ascent, or you can actually look inside and say, this is getting better, this has to improve. But when you're playing Super Bowl caliber teams, you got to come up with those turnovers.
Right, and even though this is a Chiefs team that was struggling to start the season, came into Sunday Night Football 0-2 in the record, they still are a team. Good teams find ways to win, and they were able to do that.
And I don't think this was a get-right game for them because they struggled to get what they got. You know, the Giants made life difficult, so it wasn't like they hit all cylinders when they got it was a field goal game.
Yeah.
For a very long time.
Yeah, Harrison Butker was earning his game check in this one. Missed one early on, but it was a lot of field goal kicking early on in this one. But the Chiefs did end up figuring it out and getting the win 22-9. But for another perspective on this one, let's send it down to the field. Paul Dottino and Brandon London are standing by. Guys, what did you see?
Leaving this building very disappointed, Madelyn. You know, when you talk about the turnover situation, and every coach will tell you that is critical in terms of giving yourselves a chance to win the game. The one really deadly turnover for the Giants was the throw by Wilson into the right corner of the end zone. It was short for Malik Neighbors, which was intercepted, and that wound up turning into some Chiefs points.
Yeah, it was unfortunate because you wanted to try and put some sort of points on the board there. You wanted to try and get that moon ball up and over for Malik Neighbors to kind of run up under it and then maybe to get some sort of toe drag swag in the back of the end zone. But I feel as though the ball was so severely underthrown that it was hard for him to kind of play defender. That's what Mike Sullivan, our former wide receiver coach, used to say. If you can't get it, no one should be able to get it. But it's hard to put your foot back into the ground and slap the ball down. And then on the other side of the football, the defensive side, there's a couple of times the Giants could have got their hands on the football, but they didn't finish it, Paul. And they're going to be extremely upset with themselves when they watch the tape.
Yeah, Okirike had a chance at a fumble recovery deep in KC territory, tried to pick it up, and Mahomes got it back. But now on that ensuing drive, the Chiefs wind up picking up a really rough PI penalty on Drew Phillips. And that turned into points that gave Kansas City a 9-6 lead at halftime. That's a tough call that can go either way.
Yeah, you can call it ticky-tack, but you're going up against a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, who he is going to throw the ball up there and hope something good happens with his wide receiver. I thought Drew Phillips did a great job of getting his hands back. He wasn't too handsy like some of the calls during the Cowboys game, but at the end of the day, these refs are going to call that anytime there's any question there, and that was an absolute backbreaker for the Giants defense because the Chiefs were able to get 3 points on the board, and they got the ball back after halftime.
That's right. They get the double dip and go on a 11-play, 74-yard touchdown drive to open the third quarter to make it 16-6, and that's when you knew the Giants were in trouble. Now, finally, Graham Gano comes down with a sore groin before kickoff. The Giants are forced to go without him, although he did kick a short field goal late in the game. But that also causes a big problem for you, not only offensively making calls, but it changes how the defense is going to play you.
Absolutely. It changes the way if you want to be aggressive. And it's unfortunate that it happened right there, right during warm-ups, because it changes your game plan on how you're going to act or how you're going to call plays on that side of the 50-yard line. It was just a weird night for the Giants tonight, and it's just unfortunate, Paul.
Gano did warm up at halftime. By the way, it looked like 33 yards was about as long as he could possibly try it. He was limping after those attempts. That'll do it from down here. Let's go back upstairs to you guys.
Thanks so much, Paul Dottino, Brandon London, for the insight. We've got much more to break this one down, though. After the break, we're going to hear from the head coach, and much more to come because Giants Postgame Live brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Together we can tackle kids' cancer. Returns after this. Giants fans, it's Moody's. Decode risk, unlock opportunity. Learn more at moodys.com. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Together, we can tackle kids' cancer. Madelyn, Burke, Shaun O'Hara, and Carl Banks here as the Giants fell to the Chiefs 22-9 on Sunday Night Football in the home opener. For more on this one, though, let's send it down to head coach Brian Daboll, who's stepping up to the podium now.
Okay. So I thought we battled defensively. Had a good plan. They made a couple nice plays there in the second half, but there's a lot of things improved defensively. Gave us a chance. Thought we did a good job in the kicking game and fell short offensively. We ran the ball much better. Our passing game was not good enough, particularly on third down. So we were like 1 of 10 on third down. That's hard to sustain drives and put points on the board. So. But I thought defensively we did some good things, and in the kicking game we did as well. Tracy's got a shoulder. Graham got hurt during the defensive introductions before the game. He was out there kicking and got a groin, so he couldn't go first half. And then he said he can kick from a certain distance in the second half. So that's about it. Not good enough.
Coach, what did you see in the way that they were playing in the secondary to limit Malik and Waddell's?
Yeah, they played a fair amount of split safety. So, we got a bunch of split safety last week. Just didn't get the job done this week with it.
Why do you think you couldn't get Malik the ball? He obviously didn't have a catch going into the fourth quarter there.
Yeah, we got to do a better job with that. No question about it.
What do you attribute that to? Game plan, quarterback?
Probably a collection of everything, Pat. Probably a collection of everything. Again, they were playing a lot of split safety coverage. They played it last week. Could be just a little bit different, but I'd say a collection of all that. We certainly got to do a better job with it.
Was the plan with Andrew Thomas, or did he?
Yeah, we were going to give him 25 plays, so that's what we gave him. And he came out, from what I understand, just fine. So that was the next step for the ramp up for him. Hopefully we'll be able to get some more this upcoming week.
How would you describe Russell Wilson's game tonight?
Yeah, I'd just say overall offensively, Connor, nothing was good enough. Coaching, playing, didn't do a good enough job. Everybody.
Brian, this is the second time you've had to play a game without a kicker.
Yeah.
Is it getting untenable to have that kicker when, it's...
Well, look, that's why Jamie kicks at practice, too. I know they blocked that kick. We had a range for him as well, and him and Gunner had practiced before. But, just literally we're getting ready to go out for the anthem and saw him pull up on one of those kicks. So then we had to decide, what's the line now? The fourth downs change, throughout the game considerably. So we just had to, make sure we were dialed in with that. And in the second half, when he came back, there was another plan, but then we had two kickers. One was going to kick for a certain distance. The other one would kick a certain yard line in. So you got to do what you got to do.
On the first series, it's safe to say you would go for the field goal there?
Would have, yeah.
Brian, I know this is harping on it again, but you guys spent so much time this offseason stressing the need to start fast.
Yeah.
To be 0-3, how do you describe that?
Yeah, that's not the goal, certainly. So, again, it's we got to put a complete game together, all three phases, offense, defense, special teams, coaching. We got to do all that. Again, I thought our defense responded in a positive manner. But you only score once. Not good enough.
And the rhyme or reason when you put Jackson in, and then you get down, it seems like 3rd and 4, deep in the red zone would be a perfect time to put him in. You don't put him in, you run Russ on the zone. You're just trying to understand the thought process.
Yeah, I would say, look, we discussed the plan going into it, and Mike is in his flow of the game. I thought when he put him in and ran a couple of those zone reads, the first play we put him in was actually a pass, not a zone read. And then based on where we were on that particular play, where we got hit and lost a couple yards, there was a certain distance we were going to go for it. And we actually lost a yard, I think. And if we didn't get it, we didn't think we'd lose a yard on it, but we had a zone read on that play as well too. They just played it well, and he can run those.
Fans were. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, Dave. Were you thinking at all about maybe getting Jackson a series or two just to try to change up the tempo of the offense?
Yeah, I'd say, the plays we had him in, that's what we thought was best for him. And we'll continue to work with them and get them ready.
Right, fans were calling for Jackson to get in the game, and then when you put Russell back in, they were booing him.
Yeah.
What would you say to the fan base that is calling for this rookie that you guys are obviously excited about, and they are too, after this offense looks like this?
Yeah. Look, Jackson's progressing well. We'll continue to work with him. I got a lot of confidence in him, his development that he's had. And that's what we'll continue to do. Look, I'd be booing too, to be honest with you, in terms of not being good enough. No, not scoring, not finishing. I understand that. That's the nature of it. We got to be better.
Brian, I know that Russell's been through a lot. He's seen a lot. He's endured a decent amount throughout his career. But I mean, when every time he steps back on the field to come back in and he's getting booed, how does he take that? Do you have to say anything to him? I mean,
Yeah, no, I didn't have a conversation about that, and I don't think the coaches, the offensive coaches, they're talking on the sideline. They're looking at the plays that we just ran. They're going through the adjustments. They're talking about things that we should do the next series. That's where our focus has to be is looking at the things we got to improve on and do it.
Will you start next week, Russell?
Yeah, you guys have asked me about players after games. I'm not going to answer that.
Does not winning games or getting off to a slow start change the approach? At least make you have to start thinking about, okay, when do we put our, obviously you invested a lot in Jackson, when do we put him in?
Yeah, like I said, we'll continue to work with Jackson, continue to develop him. He's done a nice job since he's been here, and again, we'll go back, we'll watch the tape, we'll sit down, we'll have our discussions like we normally have, and do what we think is best.
He's the number 2 quarterback, and this is 2 games now the offense has been really bad. At what point is Russ's performance dictate a decision strictly on Jackson's timeline?
Yeah, again, Dan, everybody's got to be better. We're not going to put this on one person. Everybody has to be better collectively. Again, the run game was a step in the right direction, but the pass game, particularly on 3rd down, when you're 1 of 10, that's tough sledding.
There's a connection between Russ and Scattebo.
Well, he had some checkdowns. There was a couple play action passes where he dropped back, and Cam's a tough competitor. Thought he ran hard. Thought he did a good job in the passing game when he got the ball in his hands. He's a good young player.
I understand that it's just. I understand it's it's collective. It's the unit and everything, Brian. But if you replace a guard, it's very rare that that's going to ignite the offense. You replace a running back, it's probably not going to make a huge change. A quarterback has the ability to do that. Change a quarterback can ignite and kind of elevate everyone else. So when do you have to start thinking about that or considering that if these struggles continue?
Yeah, again, Connor, look, it's on everybody. Takes 11 people to go out there and execute a play, a good call. It's everybody's involved in it. So we gotta keep working to get that better.
Do you think you guys had a good plan for what they did against you defensively?
Well, we didn't score hardly any points. So there's a lot of discussions on the sideline, trying different things. I thought the running game was well. They play a bunch of split safety. You got to be able to run the ball too, and make productive yards in that area. A 3rd down it wasn't good enough. So when you're 1 of 10, it's a combination of a lot of things, Dan.
In the first half, did the referees miss the face mask call? Did they talk to you about what they saw or didn't see on that?
Well, obviously they didn't see it because they didn't call it.
If Tracy, obviously, not knowing what his health is, if he can or can't go next week, how confident do you feel in Scattebo based on what he did tonight?
Yeah, again, we'll see where Tracy's at. I have confidence in Scat, though.
Okay.
That sound from head coach Brian Daboll, brought to you by Ford, the official vehicle of the New York Giants. Guys, we heard Dave's talking about quite a few things that wasn't good enough, the struggles of putting points on the board, and especially the struggles on third down. Carl, when you look at the Giants being 1 for 10 on third down, how do you improve that?
That's literally the story of the game, but it's finding out how you can get the ball down the field, right? So, and they weren't all third and longs either. There were some third and shorts. There were third and eights. They were all a lot of manageable third downs that they were only able to get 1 out of 10, and that's just not acceptable. And if you look at the storyline here, it's that particular stat that it's lopsided. Everything else, they were playing them neck and neck.
Neck and neck, and especially when you consider the passing game too. You've got, your best receiver, Malik Neighbors, doesn't get his first catch until the fourth quarter. He has 2 receptions for 13 yards. This is his first career game with less than 4 receptions, Shaun. When you're not able to get your best player involved in the passing game, how much does that affect the offense?
Well, it's tough, but you got to realize that that's what they're doing defensively. Like, that's what Spags came in and said, look, you're not going to beat us with Malik Neighbors, all right? We're going to have a safety over the top. And yes, they saw 2 high safeties against Dallas, but those safeties were flat-footed and everybody was running by them. These safeties were not going to let anybody get behind them. So you could tell that the deep ball was being forced. Like, every time Russell Wilson threw the deep ball, it was a forced throw. He was trying to make something out of nothing, and that's why we saw the interceptions. So he was trying to force the ball, but this does go back down to, look, first down production helps out with your third down production. Sure. But third down, you go 1 for 10, you're not going to win on any level.
Right.
I coach my son's 5th and 6th grade football team. Like, if we can't convert on third down, we're never going to keep moving the ball. We're not going to score points. And really, it's two-pronged, all right? Third down on offense, it's two-pronged in that, number one, we get rhythm and we keep going. Number 2, you start wearing out the defense, all right? If you don't get a first down and you can't get them with their hands on their hips, like that's what you're trying to get for. And what you're striving for offensively is get that defense tired. And if you're not converting third downs, that's not happening, and you're not going to be able to finish drives with points. But, look, this game was 9-6 at the end of the half with 2 interceptions.
Right.
2 turnovers ago, and your field goal kicker's out because he's hurt.
Yeah.
The game was there. Like, they had this game. It was ready to be won.
Within reach, and it's
a 4-point
game at the half, and you got to be able to capitalize on that in that second half.
Grab that bull by the horns.
Instead, the final score is 22-9 in favor of the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Giants fans, come out and run the Giants Foundation 5K and Kids Run presented by Quest on Sunday, October 26th. Scan the QR code on your screen or visit giants.com/5K for details and to register to run alongside Giants legends like Shaun O'Hara.
Let's do it.
Who's going to be there?
Lace them up.
You running?
I might run home tonight. I'm fired up. I might just go for a jog right now just to get ready.
Fired up, ready to go. All right, we got more to come here on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health.
Good to see that guy back, though.
Yeah, I was definitely rusty. It's been a while taking a live rep like that, but like I said, I was happy to be back out there.
Do you feel like you could have gone more physically, like aside from the plan? Like, did you feel like you were able to go more?
That's kind of what we discussed before, and regardless of how I felt, the game plan was to play that amount of snaps so I don't have any more setbacks.
Yeah. Andrew, for the time that you were in there, what part of your game came back the quickest and you felt good about, and what parts of your game do you still think didn't come back?
Yeah, I think I did a good job in the run game, communication with the guys around me, and I think there's some things in the pass game I can tighten up to get my set back to where it was before.
Are you on track, you think, for a full game next week, or is it going to take a couple more weeks?
Not going to make any predictions. We'll see how it responds tomorrow, and we'll talk about the plan and see where we go from there. Yeah.
Offense needs to do to kind of be more consistent and get over the hump?
I would say just execution all the way around. There's a lot of plays that we leave on the field. One position group is doing well and the other one isn't. To have a good offense, all 11 have to execute, and that's what we got to work on.
Andrew, it appears from upstairs that Scattebo really gives you guys an extra spark when he makes one of those physical plays. What's it like in the huddle, and what's it like when you see him on the field make a play like that? Is there really much of an impact?
No, you can tell Scat's a football guy. He just loves ball, and it shows in his play. And when you have a running back that runs like that, that gets the offensive line going for sure.
Thank you.
That sound from left tackle Andrew Thomas, brought to you by Ford, the official vehicle of the New York Football Giants. You guys, we saw this was Andrew Thomas's first start since week 6 of the 2024 season, where he suffered the Lisfranc injury that kept him out. He's been rehabbing. They've been working him back in. Shaun, they know Daboll said that, they had a plan to give him 25 plays. What did you see from him today?
Yeah, welcome back, Cotter. I mean, he looked great. Like, I didn't see any rust. He was talking about knocking the rust off. He looked darn good to me. I think the one thing that, when it is your first game, it's the hands, because the footwork is there. He's an unbelievable athlete, but it's just kind of getting the hands and making sure your hands are tight, making sure that you're punching in your pass sets. And I thought everything looked pretty good for a guy that hasn't played a snap in almost a year, really. I think it was smart that they went into the game saying, look, we don't care how you feel. We don't care how the game's going on. You're playing 25 snaps because this is a long-haul plan.
Yeah.
We don't want you going out playing 60 snaps, 65 snaps, and then now you're super sore, and now maybe you don't play next week. So it was smart that they had a plan like that. I think the fact that Marcus Bowe has played so well enabled them to stick with the plan. If all hell was breaking loose and guys were running through, then they might have felt like, hey, we got to keep you out there and we got to play a few more snaps. But I thought it was good. I think it was good for the whole group to have him back out there because Andrew Thomas is not a talker. He's a man of very few words, but he is a leader. Like, he's the captain. And when you have your guy out there, I know if I'm a quarterback and I walk in the huddle and I see AT over there, I'm like, okay, good. I know I got that side protected. I'm good. We can let him be one-on-one, and now we can chip and help.
And
with everybody else.
It's good to have that captain back out there. Coming back from an injury is a hard thing to do, even if it is in the middle of the game, like Graham Gano did. Let's send it down to the locker room and hear what the kicker has to say.
Wind's pretty good.
I was in a lot of pain, for sure. But I still feel like I don't want to put the team in a harder spot, just not playing at all. So I tried to push through it, and they were definitely concerned, but I told them I could push through it and at least make from 40 and in. So that was the plan, and I'm glad I was able to go out there and get the field goal for us.
That first series, you're watching, you're seeing, and teams marching down, certainly in your field goal range. Is it kind of a sick feeling to know that you're
for
not
sure.
available for the snaps at this point?
100%. It's frustrating, especially with a pull. You can't control that, and that's. I remember somebody was asking me questions just this past week about it. Why am I feeling so good and everything, and then this happened. So it's frustrating, but I only control what I can from here on. So I'll try to do what the trainers and doctors are saying and get back as quick as possible.
40 and in was the range you were thinking of?
Yeah, that was kind of. I went back to 45, and it was pushing it a little bit on my leg. So. But yeah, I was making everything for 40 and in, and the training staff did a great job, wrapping it and getting me ready to go.
That's out from Graham Gano, brought to you by Ford, the official vehicle of the New York Giants. Carl, when you hear the way Gano is talking about it, obviously got injured in pregame warm-ups, didn't play the first half, got warm in halftime and came out in the second half. As a player, how do you decide whether, me hurt is helpful or hurting the team getting on the field?
Well, it's just like a wide receiver with a hamstring or a running back with a hamstring. You either can or you can't, right? And there's really, when you have muscle pulls, there's really no in between. If he's got this range of motion, he knows he's going to be able to kick it from there. Don't ask him to do any more, and there's no guarantee that that's going to work. So I think he made a decision by halftime to see what he could actually do without ripping the thing off. And that's what you get. But see, this is the thing that if anything that could go wrong with this team, it's happening. But it's happening like, it was a nail in the tire last week. This week, you got a leak in your oil, filter. The week before, the air conditioning wasn't working. So you're just patching up these little things. And the good news is, and no one wants to hear this, it's late, but it's early.
Yeah.
Right? So you're starting to see some building blocks in place. And yes, folks, we live in the now. So we don't worry about what happened in the preseason. We're living in the now. But if you're internal to that locker room, you see enough from your defense to say, we're getting things together. You see enough from your offensive run game to say, if we could just keep this going and fix the pass game.
Getting things together, but I know that this locker room and this coaching staff is very eager to get things together in the win column, as well as the Giants fall to the Chiefs 22-9 on Sunday Night Football. But after the break, we're going to hear from the quarterback. Russell Wilson heads to the podium. That and more on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Together, we can tackle kids' cancer.
Yeah, I thought Scattebo had a great game. He's battling. He did some really good plays. I think he made some really good plays on some of the scrambles and plays that we had to make. You know, he's got a great demeanor to him. I thought he did a really good job.
And the touchdown at the game.
Yeah, he did a good job just getting. I think the line did a great job. You know, run blocking on that one, and him getting in the end zone was a good play.
Russ, how frustrating is it now that there's 2 games you guys have not been able to get a touchdown through the air and just kind of get this offense going a little bit?
Yeah, I think it was obviously disappointing. You know, thought we had, you know, it was a close game. It was a battle all the way. You know, it was a tight game. And I think that, you know, we just needed 1 or 2 more plays. You know, obviously, you know, I want to play better, you know, for us and give us a better chance to win. You know, the throw down the middle to Wandell, you know, took a shot to him. They made a good play. And then, you know, right before the half, I was trying to give one-on-one to Malik, and they made a good play on it. So, you know, just try to give them a chance at it, and, you know, they did a good job.
What was it about their scheme that just made it so much challenging compared to last week? Because they played some similar safeties, you know, the way that they split.
Yeah, they're a good football team. You know, they're talented. They're coached well and everything else. But, you know, I think we just needed 1 big touchdown in that moment, you know, somewhere in there. Right? You know, we were hoping that we could get that right before half, and they made a good play.
Can you take us through that final 4th down incomplete pass in the end zone that ended the game?
Yeah, was trying to step up and get it to Theo, and just didn't really get to step into my throw the way I wanted it to. Tried to just give him a chance, and then the ball just kind of sailed on me, just trying to get it to him, but that was unfortunate.
That sound from Giants quarterback Russell Wilson, brought to you by Ford, the official vehicle of the New York Giants. As we take a look at these numbers, Shaun, what sticks out is no touchdowns but 2 interceptions, uncharacteristic almost.
Yeah, especially after that explosion of points that we saw last week down in Dallas, and you know, Russ was cooking and he was lighting it up, and it seemed like he could do no wrong, you know, until the end of that game. But the 2 interceptions were really costly, and you know, you heard him talk about it. He broke it down. He was trying to hit Wandell over the middle. You know, a little misfire there. It was interesting, he said about the Neighbors interception, that the ball that he threw towards Neighbors was he was trying to get one-on-one coverage. That wasn't one-on-one coverage. So you could sometimes make a throw where it looks like one-on-one because you throw it away from the safety, but because they were kind of limited, because it was in the back of the end zone, he couldn't really put it as much air on it as he probably would have liked. So I felt like that was a forced throw. I think he probably knows it, which is why that's code word for I was trying to get one-on-one.
Yeah.
But look, he's trying, you know, and I mean, he's finding a way to try to get the ball down the field and give his receivers a chance. That's what every receiver wants.
Right.
Is just give me a shot to try to make a play, and I'll make you look good. It didn't happen tonight, though.
And a lot of times Malik Neighbors has the talent to make him look good and make that play. Just didn't work out that way, and it came up an interception. All right, we've got more to come here as we continue to break this one down on Sunday Night Football. But first, I want to remind you guys, Giants fans, download the all-new Giants mobile app for breaking news, exclusive videos, Giants shorts, and The Pocket. The Giants mobile app available at the App Store or Google Play. We got much more to come here on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Together, we'll tackle kids' cancer like Scattebo tackled that backflip.
Giants fans, don't flip out.
Time now for our HCL Player of the Game. HCL Tech, supercharging progress, the official digital transformation partner of the New York Football Giants. Our Player of the Game on Sunday Night Football is the rookie running back Scattebo, getting it going in the run game with that physicality and a trusted weapon for Russell Wilson in the receiving game. Ran in a 13-yard touchdown, his 2nd career touchdown in his young NFL career. Hit him with a backflip right there. As we take a look at his numbers on Sunday Night Football, 6 rushing yards, touchdown, and 6 receptions for 61 yards. Scattebo is now speaking in the locker room. Let's take a listen.
We struggled when it mattered the most, but I think we have a bright future ahead of us. I see the offense and what we have in this offense, and I'm excited to see it rolling. You know, they're getting me rolling a little bit, and then, you know, all these other guys, like, we got talent on this team, and once we get this thing rolling, it's going to be a scary sight.
How difficult was it to go in at halftime down 9-6? It was 6-6, then they get the big penalty, and they get that field goal. Is that a big deflation thing for you guys when you come into the locker room?
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, we got to look at it as 0-0. Go back out there and play our game. and just score points. I mean, that's our job as an offense. We just got to score points. That's it. So coming in 9-6, like that's a hope thing for us. Our defense has held them to 3 field goals. Like, we got hope, So, I'm excited to see what we got in the future, and we got to get this thing rolling and keep going.
Spags is a terrific defensive coordinator, does a lot of blitzing, a lot of run blitzing too. So as a rookie, what do you learn from a game like this, going up against a master DC like him?
Yeah, I mean, he was great. He had disguises that I've never seen before, and it looked like there was 9 guys coming in the gaps, and nobody came. So it's definitely a difference, but we have our keys and our assignments, and we know where to be at. We study all week for that, so we just got to continue to do our thing.
Cam, appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
That sound from Giants running back Cam Scattebo, brought to you by Ford, the official vehicle of the New York Football Giants, as we take a look at a running back comparison between Scat and Isaiah Pacheco. Each with 10 carries, Scat 60 yards on the ground. He also added 61 in the receiving game, becoming the first rookie to have 60-plus rushing and receiving in his first career home game. More to come here on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Together, we can tackle kids' cancer. Week 3 is in the rearview mirror, Shaun O'Hara. So let's look ahead to Week 4, the next game right back here at MetLife Stadium, as the New York Giants host the Los Angeles Chargers. A 1 p.m. kickoff Sunday, September 28th. The Chargers are 3-0, and they've got quite the dynamic offense, Shaun.
Yeah, they're humming right now offensively. And Justin Herbert, look, he just lit up the Denver Broncos for 300 yards in the air. He didn't get sacked 5 times in that game, but when you're playing a Jim Harbaugh coach team, look, they are going to be physical up front. They want to build everything off the run game. They lost Najee Harris to an Achilles injury, so obviously that's going to be somebody new in the backfield for him. But this offense, look, they're productive, and Herbert can run too, so it's another athletic quarterback. Nothing new for them. And then, look, defensively, Derwin James is like Superman out there. I mean, he's all over the field. He's down at the line of scrimmage. He's back in coverage. So they're going to have their hands full on both sides of the ball.
Well, and as you mentioned, too, Najee Harris going down with a season-ending Achilles injury. The rookie, Omarion Hampton, out of North Carolina, stepping up, getting 70 yards on the ground. The run game has been a struggle for the Giants to defend. How do they shore up that aspect of the game? Yeah, listen, I think they got to continue with the tackling. That's been an issue. You can't miss tackles against these guys. He's a rookie, but he's a tough runner. Keenan Allen's kind of been his go-to guy, so that's a guy that they're going to really have to have sticky coverage on. He's got 3 touchdowns already. Got to tackle him, and that's what we hope to see. Week 4, Sunday, September 28th. We'll be here right after that one for more Giants Postgame Live. For Shaun O'Hara, I'm Madelyn Burke. Thanks for hanging with us. Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Together, we can tackle kids' cancer.